the day. How we all doing? Thumbs up? Doing good? Doing well? I don't see any thumbs up. Are we doing well? There we go. Awesome. All right. Real special announcement before we get to our final speaker. You want to go ahead and look under your chair. There will be one winner at each chair. Table, not each chair, I'm sorry. That'd be a lot of winners. Every chair, every table has one. So whoever finds those tickets, congratulations. The centerpieces are yours to go home with. All right, we don't need to be tackling each other over the chair. But make sure you check that empty table if you're adamant about putting in centerpiece. Please feel free to take them. All right, where are our winners? Raise your hand if you are a winner. All right, some lovely spring flowers to take home with you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with our last session. We have Janet Showley, I almost did it wrong, who is the Programs and Outreach Manager at Pet Friendly Services of Indiana. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Anthropology with a focus in public health from DePauw University. After volunteering at an animal shelter in college, Janet pursued a career in animal welfare, starting at Faith's low-cost spay, neuter, and clinic. Thank you. After 6 years, she became executive director of the Fulton County Animal Center in her hometown of Rochester, where she grew revenue by 112%. She revamped adoption programs and launched low-cost vaccination clinics. In 2024, she opened a feline spay and neuter clinic serving 285 cats in the first 6 months. She's also passionate about networking with fellow animal welfare leaders. And she shares her home with her husband and 3 young children. Maybe she'll share the names of them, but she does have the names of her animals here. Abby, Sailor, and Dexter, her dogs. 2 cats, Benny and Kizzy, and 2 rats, Ratatouille and Popcorn. Let's welcome Janet.
I have to use some more of this microphone. Is this good? Everyone hear me? Okay. Thanks for the introduction, and hello everyone, and welcome to the last session of the day. You made it, and you went the whole day, so we're so appreciative that you are here. It's one thing to show up at work every day, but to take the initiative to come and learn and grow and want your shelter to do better and be better, that says something about you. So thank you so much for being here today. He did a pretty good introduction about me, but here's just a little bit more information. Again, I graduated from DePauw. I was the volunteer and event coordinator for FACE. Many of you remember when we had Indy Mega adoption events here in Indianapolis. I was the leader of those. I actually went to Jacksonville to learn how they did it and brought it back here to Indianapolis. So those were fun times. Maybe we can bring those back sometime in the future. I was promoted to the adoption and special placement coordinator at FACE in 2014. And then in 2016, I moved back to my hometown, which is Rochester, Indiana, and was the director there for 6 years. In January 2025, so just a few months ago, I was hired as the Programs and Outreach Manager for Pet Friendly Services of Indiana. I do still work part-time for Fulton County, so when I regard as we during the presentation, I am still affiliated with Fulton County. So I am going to give you a little bit of a snapshot about Fulton County Animal Center. Again, this is in Rochester, which is right here where this star is. Small town, if you've all been there before, not much going on, a Walmart, fast food, that's pretty much it. But this is our original building right here. It opened in 2011, and it was not built to be a animal facility at all. It was literally this rectangular building. They added the fence to the backyard. There's some animal control kennels in the back. Capacity was maybe 50 animals total. We have 1 animal control officer, which is employed by the county, serve all of Fulton County. We have a population of about 20,000, and our poverty rate is 11%, which is a bit lower than the state average of 12.3%. So I'm just giving you a snapshot of what Fulton County is and kind of where I'm coming from when I talk about some of these programs. Average intake is 1,000 cats and dogs annually. We are open admission, but it's managed responsibly. We currently have 3 full-time staff, 5 part-time staff, and 3 contract vets. I was actually hired in February 2016 in the middle of a capital campaign. This is some pictures of the newer building that opened in October of 2018. The left picture up top is our small dog kennels. On the bottom is the front of our adoption building. The middle picture is the back of it, a little bit more impressive than the front because our intake building is kind of covering up half of the adoption building. But you can see we have a huge fenced-in yard, which we love to utilize. We actually rotate every single one of our adoptable dogs by hand every 2 to 3 hours. So that was very important for us to make our dogs happy and more adoptable. Top right picture is our dog kennels. We have 7 big dog kennels in our adoption building. And then we have 12 cat condos and 1 free roam room. So small. We are a small animal shelter with 1,000 intakes annually. So many of you that are here probably can relate to my situation. You know, running a small animal shelter is just plain hard. We have some obstacles that not some of the larger shelters have. So, funny, I asked AI to generate this picture, and I said, create a picture of somebody walking or climbing up a hill and have them carrying a dog. So they chose a woman. Sorry, guys. They made her so muscular. The dog is smiling. The lady's smiling, and she is climbing up this hill. And I just like to think that that's kind of a good depiction of what we do in animal welfare. At least we try to do it with a smile on our face, right? Oh no. Sorry, it's not letting me look at my notes. Okay. So inadequate facility and infrastructure. A lot of us are working with buildings that are just falling apart, literally. Like I said, our building was not meant to be an animal shelter at all, so we have that we're working with. Geographic isolation. We are in the middle of nowhere, right? There's not a lot of resources around. We have to drive somewhere if we need to get somewhere. Public awareness and cultural attitudes. We live in a rural community, so that means a lot of people in our community have limited resources and maybe didn't get a full education, so that can create some difficulties too as far as what they believe in as far as animal welfare and their beliefs. More obstacles. Staffing and volunteer shortages. So it's hard to retain staff and it's hard to find volunteers. We live in a small community with not a lot of people, so convincing these people to help can be a challenge. Overpopulation and pet abandonment due to limited access to spay-neuter services. Lack of veterinary services. A lot of communities only have maybe 1 or 2 full-service vets, and their prices are, a little bit hard to afford for a lot of our community members. Not only that, but we have to drive kind of far for our low-cost spay-neuter partners as well. And then there's limited funding and resources. We don't have a lot of resources to choose from in our communities. We have to drive or get them donated, and we rely on that. And I really want my notes to work. Anybody have any ideas? I'll keep talking while he works on that. But so tackling adequate facility infrastructure. Not going to spend a lot of time here. Okay, so. Okay, thank you. Okay. prioritize your immediate needs and make sure they are cost-effective, high-impact improvements that will improve your efficiency or your programs. Remember when I talked about our fenced-in backyard for adoption building? That was something we added that we thought was very important, and it improved our programs, made our dogs happier, and increased our adoptions. So once you have determined your most urgent needs, you'll want to seek community support. That is one strength of having a small community. It's just the camaraderie of the small town. You want to use that to your advantage. If it's not something that the general public can help with, then get them involved by donating. Donors love direct asks. If you donate this, then we get that. They love to feel part of that end result. And if all else fails, or if it's a really big project, you've got your grants. Yay! Everyone loves grants, right? Writing the grants. So down here in the corner, you probably can't see, but you will get copies of all these slides. Some suggestions on grants for you guys to look into. The Kenneth A. Scott Charitable Trust is one that focuses on the Midwest and Great Lakes regions. A lot of shelters have been successful applying for grants through that, so you'll want to look into that. Also, Pet Friendly Services has just added a resource page on their website, our website, and there's a long list of grant resources, so definitely check those out as well. Lastly, your local community foundations are United Way. Obviously, they want to give locally, so reach out to them, build partnerships, let them know what programs you want to get started. Solutions for geographic isolation. So we pretty much established we live in the middle of nowhere, right? So we have to get creative and get our animals seen and moving. First, develop transport partnerships. You'll want to collaborate with larger urban organizations that have higher adoption rates to transfer pets with a longer length of stay. Social networking groups that I talked about this morning is perfect for that, but also making these in-person relationships are also great. So once you have found someone to transport with, go to their facility, meet them in person, figure out how you can help them too. Make it very, not one way, but mutually beneficial. And also, utilize your online adoption platforms like Pet Finder, Adopt a Pet. You have to market your animals and not rely on people just coming to your shelter to adopt. You should be using a good software program that automatically updates the animals to your, like Pet Finder and Adopt a Pet. If you are not using a software program and are manually putting your pets in Pet Finder, please email me. You are spending hours and hours of your life doing that. Also, make sure you're uploading your animals quickly. So at intake, or at the very least, as soon as stray hold is up, at least even just a picture. You know, they can always inquire if you're not quite there with a bio, but at least let people start seeing your animals from their homes so they don't have to come to your shelter to see them. And have your staff members use AI to write adoption bios. I don't know if you all are aware of AI. I know there's another presentation going on right now about that you guys are missing out on, but the next slide is an example of how I use ChatGPT to create a dog bio for a dog. So it's a recording of my voice. So. It's supposed to. Okay, well, I'm just going to say it then. So I asked ChatGPT, I said, make a dog bio for this dog that I found Mary Poppins. I literally did a Google search. I said, give me a cute dog name. Mary Poppins it is. So she's a 3-year-old pit bull. She likes other dogs who aren't too bossy, no cats, kids over 7 because she's timid, loves chew bones and playing ball, and she's potty trained and fully vetted. I literally put those facts in ChatGPT and said, make me a dog bio that is cute and funny. And this is what it said. Meet Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way. At 3 years old, Mary Poppins is ready to bring a spoonful of sugar into your life. This delightful pit bull mix is equal parts sweet, silly, and snuggly, though she won't be floating in on an umbrella anytime soon. She's more of a zoomies across the yard kind of girl. Mary Poppins is a refined lady with excellent house manners. She's potty trained and fully vetted, so she's already ready for her forever home. She adores chew bones and never turns down a game of fetch. Just be prepared, she may insist that you fetch if she decides she's done running. She enjoys the company of other dogs as long as they're not too bossy. She's more of a go-with-the-flow kind of pup. However, she does insist on a cat-free household because, in her professional opinion, cats are just too mysterious. Because she's a little on the timid side, she's looking for a home with kids over 7 who understand that not every pup is ready for a spontaneous marching band performance in the living room. Apply today for Mary Puffins. She promises to make every day supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So that literally took me like 10 seconds to type into ChatGPT and it crafted this response. So this can save you a lot of time, and it's very creative, and it's going to catch your adopter's attention. A few more solutions for geographic isolation. Off-site adoption events. Again, don't rely on people coming to your shelter for small rural communities. For off-site adoption events, in my opinion, quality is going to be more important than quantity here. So having 4 quarterly off-site adoption events that are really good, really thought out of, is going to be more beneficial than maybe having one every month. They do take a lot of time to plan. And you're going to want to make sure you pick a spot that has a very high foot traffic. Or you can make the adoption event coincide with another event that's going on in your community, like a festival or a fair. So you want to bring your pets to your people. And promotion is also important. You want to make it exciting, find sponsors, make sure whoever's holding the event for you also helps to sponsor and promote. And lastly, off-site adoption locations. These differ because the animals stay there until they are adopted. Usually this is for cats, and it's going to be like at your PetSmart or Petco. Just a quick raise of hands, who uses PetSmart for their cats right now? Not as many as I thought, really. So we actually use 2. We use PetSmart in Warsaw and J&K Megapet, which is in Wabash. It's a 40-minute drive from Rochester. So distance can be an issue. To tackle that, we used a grant from PetSmart, and they actually gave us $13,000 to hire 2 part-time staff members to take care of our cats at PetSmart so that we could keep them there. So let's do a quick poll. In 2024, Fulton County Animal Center adopted out 525 cats. What percent of those do you think were adopted from our 2 off-site locations together? So I'll have you raise your hand, but the options are 15, 30, 40, or 55. Who thinks A, 15%? Nobody. B, 30%? Okay. C, 40%. Okay. And then D, 55%. All right. I think it was half and half between C and D. Yeah, if you guessed D, you'd be correct. We adopt out over half of our cats from our off-site adoption locations. So this is a crucial aspect of our cat adoption program, and we would be very overwhelmed if we didn't have these 2 programs. So if you don't have an off-site cat adoption program, definitely look into it. It does not have to be PetSmart or Petco. Maybe there's another high-traffic area that's locally owned that you can talk to the owner and see if you can have cats stay there until they're adopted. All right, moving on to public awareness and cultural attitudes. All right, community education and outreach. You'll want to host workshops and school programs, educational sessions from local vets. You can get creative on how to reach the people who need your resources the most. Strengthen your community ties. Collaborate with local businesses. Find your local clubs with large memberships and ask to present. Write content for their newspaper or newsletter that they can include. Also, provide free shelter tours, not just for adopters, but for people coming to your facility just to look at what you're doing and the programs that you have. And host beneficial community events. Microchip clinics, vaccine clinics, spay neuter transports, pet food pantry days, free behavior classes, or support. Those darn notes. Going away. All right, overcoming staffing and volunteer shortages. Staff, I know it's extremely frustrating for a small shelter because, it feels like when you lose some of your key staff, you're literally taking a step backwards, right? It's hard to replace them, or it takes time, the turnover. So really, your focus needs to be on finding the right people and keeping them. So recruitment, don't depend on one avenue of recruitment. Don't just post on your Facebook page. Use newspaper, radio, county resources, Indeed, or LinkedIn. If you have a robust volunteer program, you can also recruit within your program. It's a great way to find their work ethic and if they get along with the team. Efficiency. Take your time hiring the right person. If you're hiring just to hire, you're going to spend a lot of time on turnover. And tell your employees that instead of a 2-week notice, you'd like a 2-month notice. I know easier said than done, and some people will, leave the same day, but 2 months will give you adequate time to hopefully find a replacement. Also extremely important, cross-train your staff. With a small shelter and a small staff, you want all your staff members to be able to fill in wherever they are needed. Lastly, have a strong volunteer program to pick up the slack. Once you have found great and efficient staff members, make sure you retain them. Offer flexible scheduling. Pay them competitively. Did you know that the hourly pay for a fast food worker in Indiana right now is $18.57? So just keep in mind that any of your workers would rather work at a fast food. So you can hire one good employee at $18 an hour to do the job of 2 subpar employees at $9 an hour. Also, offer creative benefits like pet food, supply discounts, or occasional remote work days for administrative tasks like writing social media posts or doing those pet bios. And offer professional growth and learning opportunities like inviting them to come to today's conference. Morale boosting programs. Make sure you're celebrating your employee birthdays. Have friendly competitions, like each staff member makes a Facebook post and whoever has the most likes or shares gets a free paid time off day. Or have fun dress-up days. And you can also offer longevity bonuses. So if your employees know that after they work 6 months, they might get 1 free paid time off day. Or after 12 months, they could get a raise or an annual review. Volunteer shortages. Similar to your staffing shortages, first and foremost, build a social media presence. Fulton County has 20,000 followers. It's an excellent way to get the word out about your volunteer needs. Also, as discussed earlier, you have to figure out creative ways to get people in the building, not just adopters, and exhibit exceptional customer service. You never know who's going to end up being a volunteer, who's entering your building. Another great way is inviting large corporations or businesses to have volunteer days at your facility. That gets a large number of people that are potential volunteers for your organization. And if funds allow, hire a part-time volunteer coordinator. In my opinion, it's definitely a worthwhile investment. Volunteer retainment. This comes down to making them feel valued and useful. To do this, make sure you're giving them meaningful jobs that align with their strengths and include them in on meetings. Recognize their hard work, both in the shelter and publicly, and offer incentives like you do for staff. Like, once you volunteer 20 hours, you get to name an animal, whatever you want. Within reason, as long as it's not Callie the calico. Also providing growth and learning opportunities. Again, like inviting volunteers to a conference like this. So the next 3 obstacles are very much connected. You've got your lack of veterinary services, which causes overpopulation, which can both cause abandonment. The idea is to stop this domino effect at lack of veterinary services. Therefore, the solution to lack of veterinary care is you provide veterinary care. How can you provide veterinary care for your community? A simple way is to hold pop-up or drive-through vaccine clinics. This is pretty easy to coordinate and facilitate once you have a vet on board to help. You can ask your local vets. You can also apply for grants to subsidize vet care for pet owners. Access to care is huge right now in animal welfare grants. You'll want to partner with a vet who will give you a great deal. Lastly, provide spay-neuter options that are accessible and affordable for your community. For example, this morning, Sandy talked about public vet and bringing that to your community. They can do 100 cats per surgery day. Can you imagine what kind of impact that would make if you invited them several times throughout the year? And providing veterinary care within the shelter. If funds allow, hire a vet tech, volunteer coordinator, and vet tech, 2 positions that can even be part-time that I think are very beneficial for small shelters. and it will save money on vet bills as well. It's also helpful to have a basic pharmacy on site for minor and common ailments, and in order to do that, you'll need to establish a vet on record. So this is a veterinarian who doesn't necessarily work at the shelter, but you're using their veterinary license to order vaccines, product, prescriptions. Shelters United actually has a new, I guess it's a toolkit for a vet of record program. This is what their website looks like, and the website is on the bottom, sheltersunited.com/VOR. So this is not only helpful for animal welfare organizations, but also the potential veterinarian that you plan to work with. Limited funding and resources. There's our friend Sarah McLaughlin here to ruin our day. But in all seriousness, there are other strategies to raise funds other than making your donors cry. This is a look at our actual budget expenses for Fulton County Animal Center from 2023 to 2024 and how we budgeted for 2025. It's important to keep an accurate budget with detailed line items. Once you have that, you can decide where and how you can save money. For us, from 2023 to 2025, we reduced our expenses in the categories of animal care, fuel, office supplies, building maintenance, spay neuter, and vet fees. But how? Utilize your donor base. Building your social media presence, again, so important, and I know I'll mention it several times in this presentation. But make your wish list and promote them often. Everyone mostly knows about Amazon and Chewy wish lists, but a newer one is called Walmart Spark Good. At least it's new, I just recently found it. But if you aren't familiar with that, you want to look that up. And remember, to make things easier, you can always go into Facebook and schedule your posts. So maybe you want to do your wish list once a month or twice a month. You can go ahead and schedule those for the entire year if you wanted, so that you don't forget. And as a side note, I found this example of a wish list online, and I loved it because it had those QR codes for both the Amazon wish list and the Chewy wish list. So that's something we're going to be incorporating at Fulton County. Also, ask donors for specific items when needed. They love this. They love to see the immediate need and to know that they helped get that item. So for an example, we posted this in January that we needed a new dog grooming tub. We posted a picture of the rusted bottom and what we hope to get. And within 3 hours, we raised $900. So that was a great way to raise money for something that we needed. The price of the tub was actually only $650, so we had $250 to go towards a washing machine, which broke the following week. So it's always something, right? So if you utilize your donor base effectively, you'll save money on animal care and office supplies. And utilize your volunteer base. Make it easy to reach your volunteers. We created a Facebook page for our volunteers and fosters so we could communicate with them. They felt like part of the team. There's also another thing called GroupMe, which is an app specifically made for messaging groups. So you can add and delete people efficiently. And don't be afraid to use your volunteers and use them creatively, like transporting animals. That saves you gas money, wear on your vehicles, and volunteers love to do that. Also, let them do animal care. They want that hands-on experience with your animals. I know a lot of people are afraid, for liability reasons, to let their volunteers handle the dogs a lot unless they're just walking them. But for us at Fulton County, we have, every day of the week, somebody taking care of our adoption cats in the morning, and that saves us an hour and a half every morning. Also, find a handyman or a handywoman. They will save you money, I promise. Ours fixes drains, fixes equipment. I can't tell you how much it has saved us. Also remember that volunteers can make you money too. Those who are knowledgeable in marketing, grant writing, fundraising, graphic design, they are invaluable. The bottom line is, don't be afraid to ask for the support of your community. Be specific in how they can help and what kind of impact they will make, and treat them well. So this is some free and low-cost litter and pet food resources. Dr. Elsie's actually has two programs. One's the Shelter Cat program, the other is the Shelter Kit program. One is a donation of litter for shelter cats, and the other is litter that you actually send home with your adopters. So I think you can find information about both of those on their website, or if not, you can also email me. I do provide my email at the end of this presentation. Cat's Pride and Fresh Stuff are similar in that the public nominates you or buys litter for your organization or for themselves, and the points add up, and that gets you more litter as well. Pet food. Indy Humane Rescue Relief, they do have a program where you can pick up food and litter. I think they have a wait list right now, but if you aren't on that and you want to be, I think you can email them to be put on that wait list. A newer one that I just found was Purina Shelter Champions. And that is fairly new, but shelters can save up to 50% on Purina Pro Plan. And they get free Fortiflora as well. Something else to look into. Walmart has a donation program where you can receive their damaged bags, and then there's also the Greater Goods Charities Goods program. The map on the right shows the ambassador locations, so those are the locations where they have the food available for shelters and rescues. You do have to apply. Notice there's not a single one in Indiana, which is a huge bummer. But for us, we actually just recently partnered with the one in Grand Rapids, and we picked up a huge pallet of really good dog food. I think it was Purina, and only paid $200, so it was definitely worth the drive. So if you're low on food, you might want to check into that program and see if one of those locations is accessible to you. I briefly talked about Shelters United Vet of Record program, but they also offer other cost savings programs, such as their vet supplies program, their pharmacy, and their pet supplies marketplace. I'd still recommend kind of shopping around to different distributors to make sure you're getting a good deal, but that is a good option. To enhance your fundraising efforts, consider establishing annual events that your community will come to expect. This is an example of the 3 annual events that we have every year at the Fulton County Animal Center. The first being our craft show. We hold that every spring. Very easy. We just have a building which we get free of rent in our community. We have about 35 vendors and charge them $50 each. And then we charge a $1 admission donation for everyone from the public who comes to the event. We have food trucks in the parking lot. It's a lot of fun. This past year we raised $4,000. And I think just me and maybe one other volunteer arranged the whole thing. So very easy. The rummage sale is probably our biggest of the year, and that's a 3-day event on a weekend. We have people from the community donate any unwanted items that they want besides adult clothing, because it's impossible to sort and lay it all out. So we do everything except adult clothing. And there's also admission donation for each day. I think it's $3 on Friday, $2 on Saturday, and $1 on Sunday. So last year we made $7,000 for that event. And then our Thanks for Giving Facebook silent auction is a lot of fun too. We have businesses donate gift baskets or items, and last year we made $5,000 at that one. So 3 ideas for you guys if you don't already have annual events that you do. Our ongoing efforts include social media, please. We have donation canisters at 15 different businesses around town, which makes us about 1,500. Kroger Community Awards. If you have a Kroger in your community, make sure you're reminding your Facebook followers to link their card to your community. We made almost $6,000 last year for that. And then roundup programs. That's where, like, if you're at the cash register and they ask, do you want to round up to this organization? You'll want to do some research and see what businesses in your town does that. But for us, it was Good To Go gas station, and they selected us several times in 2024, and we raised $2,700. So, providing veterinary care doesn't only make happy and healthy pets, but it can also make you money by opening a vaccine clinic. So I'm not talking about pop-up or drive-through clinics. I'm talking about in your facility during specific days, times throughout the year. We opened our vaccine clinic at the Fulton County Animal Center in May of 2021, so it's been just about 4 years. We'll do just a quick rundown because I could probably do a whole presentation on opening a vaccine clinic, but the who. You'll first need to find a vet or multiple vets and make sure you pay them competitively. Also decide who you are serving. For us, it was anyone living anywhere, but you might decide only to allow people from your own county to utilize your clinic. Then decide on your pricing scale. You'll want to make sure you are making ends meet financially while also making it affordable for your community. We also decided to give a 15% discount to anyone who can provide proof of being low income, so we are really attracting those low income families to come to the clinic. The what services will you offer? Just keep in mind that you might want to start slow and add on as you go. The when, how often will you hold your clinics and how long will the clinics be? For us, we decided on a Sunday because it was a day we were close to the public and most people were available that day. We did a 3-hour span from 12 to 3. The where will you hold your clinic? On site or a different building? Just be mindful of rent, which can significantly impact your earnings. And how? It's really not as scary as it seems. If I can do it, you guys can do it too. If you aren't knowledgeable about the veterinary realm, then you can recruit a vet or a vet tech to help you and get you organized. And get your community excited. Purchase Clinic HQ. Trust me, it was the best decision ever. Very easy software program that just made the appointments and you can enter the medical information. And then you also have to have a vet on record. This is the vet license you use to order the vaccines. And VetCode is also wonderful. It's like the Expedia for veterinary distributors and will tell you the best price for each item you want. Lastly, you'll want to make a price services sheet and then promote and start scheduling. So I know you probably can't read these, but these are our price sheets and services sheets. You can also find this on our website if you're curious of what services and prices we offer. But it's basically vaccinations, flea and tick preventative, microchipping, deworming. There's the cat one as well. So the next slide is a quick video tour of our adoption building lobby, which is where we hosted our vaccine clinics. So I'll kind of talk you through as it gives you the tour. So here's the front building, you're walking in, and this is where the people would walk for our vaccine clinic. It's also our adoption building. So we weren't planning to have a vaccine clinic at all when we built the building. So you walk in, we have some chairs to sit down on. There's a scale for dogs to be weighed. They wait for their turn, and then they go into the exam room, which is actually usually during shelter hours, the executive director's office. There's our product case, desk, fridge, exam table. I mean, we are not working with big space here. So after their, we see clients every 5 minutes. So after their appointment, they come out, they go to the checkout counter and pay, and then they head on back out to their cars. So small space, and we still make it work.
Is it paperless?
Paperless?
They're not filling out forms.
They do it all online.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have like a sheet that we track and we have one piece of paper basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So in May of 2021, we started our clinic, and I don't have much time, so I'm going to go through this a little bit faster. But we started our clinic with a $20,000 seed money. As you can see, in the past 4 years, our income has grown significantly. We now use 3 different vets, still 1 per clinic, and we have clinics every 2 to 3 weeks. Clinics are on occasional Sundays from 12 to 3. We schedule our clients every 5 minutes for a total of 40 clients a day. So that $20,000 seed money has actually turned into what we have now, $90,000 in our bank account. So apparently I am crazy and I just decided to go ahead and start expanding our clinic too. So that opened in June of 2024. First 7 months of operation last year, we fixed 286 cats. Already in the first 3 months of this year, we've fixed 121, and we're on track to fix 700 for the year. We do limit those appointments to county, Fulton County, community members in our own county. And the how looked very similar to starting a vaccine clinic. So for us, it just made sense. We already had a clinic HQ. We already had a vet. All we needed to do was buy the equipment. So the picture on the left is what we use to sterilize our instruments. We do not have an autoclave, which are pretty expensive. So the vet that we use actually recommended this. She uses it when she goes to different countries to spay neuter. So it looks like a pressure cooker, but it is a sterilizer. With an efficient surgeon, intubation is not necessary. We just use injectable sedation. You don't need a lot of space, and then you would just need to decide on your pricing structure. For now, we're using Bissell Pet Foundation's Fix the Future program. So this is a grant program where they provide us $1,000 per surgery day, and they also pay a stipend for vet techs if needed. You must perform at least 40 animals to get that full funding, and the client cannot pay more than $25. We also have to include 4 vaccines and a microchip. It's probably more cost effective to use this for shelter cats, but we noticed a need for it in our community, so we decided to do it for owned cats or TNR cats or community cats. And we also use funding from the profit we make from our vaccine clinic to fund our surgery. We do surgery dates twice a month on Thursdays, another day that we're closed to the public. And here's a few pictures from our surgery day. Notice it's the same exact space we use for a vaccine clinic. It is not a big space. The top left is our cats when they arrive. They do stay in their carriers the entire day. The middle are the techs prepping the cats for surgery. Next one is they're in surgery, a first spay. Next is a neuter. Recovery, or what we call the beach, where the cats are recovering and they go back in their carriers after that. And then Happy Boy came to pick up his cat. So, all right. So some main takeaways. Please remember that people matter. We are just as much of a people organization as we are an animal welfare organization. Our staff, volunteers, donors, adopters, community, they're all huge players in the health of animal welfare in our communities. So make sure your facility is a welcoming resource. And be proactive, not reactive. Develop programs that get to the root of your issues. Spay-neuter is huge. And if you can't open your own clinic, then at least provide low-cost resources. Also, don't expect to receive if you're not willing to give. Make sure as a nonprofit organization you are not always taking. Create a mutually beneficial partnership with your community and they will pay you back tenfold. And lastly, embrace your size. There are many benefits of being a small rural shelter, but remember you can be both small and mighty. Thank you. These are my emails there. You guys are always welcome to reach out to me with any questions you have. That's the Fulton County Animal Center website. You can see our statistics, our price sheets, everything that we offer in all of our programs. And then Pet Friendly Services website, lots of really good resources there. All right, I went a little bit over time, I'm sorry, but thank you guys so much for staying the whole day. Thank you.
And if you want one of the centerpieces, please make sure you take that with you. I would prefer not to take 15 home myself, so please, winners, please take them home, and congratulations.